What's up guys, it's Elliot from LA Exclusive, and today I want to talk about 5 essential car audio tools that you're going to need to get in this business. These tools I'm going to show you I use within every hour of almost every day that I'm working anyway. Now these could be tools used either in professional atmosphere or a hobbyist atmosphere, depending on what you're trying to do. Now there's going to be a lot more tools as far as what I use on a daily basis, but these are the hand tools I think that are probably the most important to get started with outside of a multimeter or some of the electronic tools that I would use as well. So I want to show you just the 5 that I think that are extremely important. They're, like I said, I have a list more of tools of what I use, but I want to at least start out with 5 that I think are extremely important, and I think it would be a great way for you to start adding to your collection if you don't already have them. And I just want to show you and give you a look at kind of how I do things. Now if you guys find there's another cool tool that you use or something that's unique, then go ahead and throw it in that comment section below. I always like new ideas, I always like looking at other people's tools and just to see what you guys have in your toolbox. So if you guys have anything that's pretty cool, comment in the section below. Also, if there's a specific video you want to see, let me know as well. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what 5 tools we're going to start with today. Let's get started. Okay, first tool we're going to start with. This is a crimper and wire cutter. These work great for connecting ring terminals, butt connectors. You can cut any type of wire with this. Typically thinner is a bit better depending how sharp the blades are. This one is made by Klein. It's obviously had a bit of wear and it works great. It gets a bit sticky over a period of time. Just spray a little WD-40 and this guy opens and closes just fine. This is probably one of my go-tos that I definitely use daily. This is a piece of equipment that's a must-have, and you will always use these when connecting ring terminals. If you don't solder, you're doing butt connectors, this is the perfect tool to have, and I'll just demonstrate how it works. Okay, so let's say we're going to use these guys. Now you're always going to see the teeth right here, and you're going to see that little valley. And whenever you're crimping something, you always want to make sure to put the line, and you can see normally there's that line right there. You always want to put that in the valley because that will help ensure a great connection. Because if you put it the opposite way, it actually will kind of fold over. This will ensure it is quite secure when you go ahead and crunch it down. So that's the proper way to do it. So then if I just twist my wire, stick it here in the bolt connector, and then I punch that down. Now we have a nice crimp on there. So these work great for ring terminals, butt connectors, all that kind of stuff, but super easy to use. They do have automated ones as well, the ratcheting ones, which I have, but I tend to kind of go back and use these ones, the more the old school way. Well, it keeps the wrist strong, but also it's, I don't know, I just personally like them better. So yeah, great tool to have. It's definitely a must own, definitely. Now the next tool I like and use all the time, these are a type of pretty much wire strippers and cutters. So at the bottom you have this blade, and those are actually quite sharp. And then here you can strip all different sizes of wires. I have the ratcheting ones that move like this. I have the small cutters. I have these, but I like these a lot because any size wire I get, I can just measure it in there and then just pull it out, and it cuts it perfectly every time. I can also cut it back here, but also for a larger gauge wire. So if I'm going to go with like an 8 gauge wire like this, what I can do, I can just pretty much just slit the ends, just move it around in a circle and pull, and I've made the perfect cut on an 8 gauge without actually cutting any wire. Obviously it takes a bit of practice, but you can do that with 4 gauge as well. Super easy, and they're just really handy. They have the spring in there to really help it bounce back. I've used quite a few of these over the years. I think this one is also by, what is this one by? Capri. And I think I had some Klein ones before, and I think some commercial electrics from Home Depot. But another essential tool, I forgot how much I paid. I think this is probably around the $15 mark. maybe less. It's been a while, but just a really nice tool to have on the go. And you can just, I mean, you can strip wires really quick with this thing. I mean, just put it in, done. Strip wires really quick, just super easy. So one of my definitely go-tos on the daily. Since we've spoke about wire strippers, here's another must. So these are great for cutting zip ties, cutting close to the wires. Also, if let's say you're stripping a wire harness that's connected on both ends and you need to solder into it, basically take your blade around there like that, pull, and you can make a nice little lineman splice. So that is really good for soldering and getting into harnesses. I do have strippers that pull it apart as well. Like I said, I have a few other kinds, but on the daily, this is the one. You know, I think about these on eBay for a few bucks. You can spend a lot of money. I used to buy the Snap-on ones for $22, but I find they break over a few months and they just weren't worth the value. So these are, you know, a quarter of the cost, and they work really good, really nice for cutting. Super easy, cut really fine stuff out of it. I mean, really no complaints with this, especially for cutting zip ties, for stripping wires. It's just super easy, and these are definitely a must in the toolbox. Next we have this guy right here, and it's a Cotter Pin Extractor is what it is. But what I find this is really handy for is this for getting into harnesses. So when I need to solder into a harness, there's always tape, right? So instead of cutting the tape and worrying about, you know, if I'm going to cut the wire or not, this you can basically hold that harness and then push that tape forward, and you can get to the wiring and open it up. You can also isolate a wire. You know, if let's say I got a bunch of wires in there, and I can isolate that wire and then pull it out, and then I have access to it. So if you ever need to tap into, you know, say a park brake wire or you know, a brake light, or, you know, something of that sort, you can do that. Obviously, you got to be careful. You don't want to pull out of the pins, but this is really good for isolating wires. Also getting, you know, just getting in there and getting something, you know, hooking something that you couldn't get before. Now I have another set of these that are a lot smaller, but for this it's quite heavy duty. You know, you can really get into a taped loom and kind of open it up and get to the wire that you need. And the nice thing is not very sharp, so you don't have to worry about really puncturing wires, which is important, because some of the other ones, the hook ones, are really sharp, and you got to be mindful of that. So that's another must that I use daily. And this thing is, I think I bought this from Home Depot. I mean, half my tools are from Australia, half are from Home Depot in the US. And so I think this is definitely, I'm pretty sure I purchased this in the US and brought it here. But another great one to have, this is by Husky. I think it was less than 10 bucks, and definitely a must have. It's awesome. This is a clip removal tool. So these things are great for removing clips from doors. Slides in there like that, pop it out. So these are extremely handy for that. And I have another one as well that works. It has a bit of a larger you know, teeth on it and a bit wider. So I have a few different variants depending on what I'm using. But any one of these is definitely helpful. And the cool thing too is you can get these other trim panel clips that are black or other colors sometimes, but they have, instead of having this fully in here, they have actually, imagine this piece right here actually moving up. So in order to remove this clip, say from a trim panel underneath the hood, you actually have to get under there, pop up that little piece, and it's usually a very thin line. It's hard to get to, and then you pop up that piece, and that actually, this part comes out, and then that releases a clip, and then you can get under it and pop it out. So it makes it really handy for that. But just another tool that you should definitely own. I believe this one's under $10 as well, and I think I purchased it from Home Depot, but they should have them online and other places. Okay guys, those are my 5 essential car audio tools that you need to get started in this game, or even as a hobby. I think those are extremely important tools, and I use them on a daily basis. So I think it's something definitely worth investing in if you don't have those tools already. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your support. There's going to be a video every week coming out, so guys, stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button, the bell notification. You can also check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for daily stuff. And thank you again, guys, and I will see you next time.